Hi, I'm Becky Johnson with Sweetheart Quilt Design Company, and I'm here today to show you a hot dog pillowcase. And as you can see, this is great for children. They love the bright colors and the designs. And it's also great for college students, reminds them of home. You can do seasonal pillowcases. And I like to do pillowcases that match my king-size bed quilts as decorative pillowcases. So what we need, you need 3 pieces of fabric to do this. The first thing you need, they're all cut with the fabric, and is a 2-inch strip for this accent piece. Then we need a 9-inch piece for the cuff. And then you need a 3/4 yard piece or 27 inches of a decorative fabric for the body of the pillow. So the first thing we're going to do is take this 2-inch piece and fold it in half lengthwise. So I'm going to iron the bolt fold out. Anything else I think needs to be pressed. And then I'm going to just take this and bring the edges together and start pressing. Now, if you're using steam, don't press the steam button because you'll burn your fingers. And we all know why I know that. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to take the cuff and we're going to lay it here right sides up and press out the bolt fold and anything else that needs it. And then we're going to lay this on and match up the edges. And the fabrics will never be exactly the same width, but you can just kind of average that. Then we're going to take the body of the pillow and we're going to lay it on top of this with the right side down. And then we're just going to get some pins out here. Whoops, that's more than I need. Okay, we're going to pin this together, and you notice I'm looking at it before I stick the pin in and making sure that the 3 pieces of fabric are together. Putting the pins in about every 6 inches seems to work fine. And I like to put my pins in so that the head of the pin is sticking out on the edge, the outside edge, so that I can get to them very easily to take them out again. Oops. Okay, there's the last one. Now, I'm going to take the body of the pillow and fold it in half. And I fold it up, so it's inch and a half from the pins, so I don't want it to get caught in the sewing. And then I fold it in half again. And then I just take this and roll it in thirds. So it makes just a tidy little bundle, because we're going to take the cuff and wrap it around, and using those same pins, we're going to pin it up here, matching the edges, and get it ready to sew together. And this will give us a nice finished seam. I'll show you on this one. Gives you a nice finished seam on the inside of the pillowcase, so you don't have to worry about it raveling apart. And there we go. So now we'll head over to the sewing machine. Whoops. Pin myself to the ironing board. Okay, now I'm gonna sew this, and I sew this using my scant 1/4 inch seam like I use when I'm quilting. And each time when you get past the pin, you want to just double check, make sure the fabrics are together in between the pins. And you'll notice, like everybody does, that I sew over pins. And it's a bad habit that my 7th grade home ec teacher taught me that I've never kicked. And I get away with it with my sewing machine, but not every sewing machine can do that. So if yours doesn't want to do that, it's very easy. As you get to the pin, just to pull it out like that. And then you're not sewing over pins at all. Maybe I'll kick that habit yet. All right, there we go. Take the pins out real quickly here. And then we're going to head back over to the ironing board. Now, I want you to see at the end here, this is how this recipe, this pattern gets the name Hot Dog Pillowcase. So you just grab onto this and turn the cuff as you're going and pull this out. And it's kind of exciting because you can see your pillowcase starting to come to life. Okay, now we have to iron this cuff, but as you can see, it's a bit of a dilemma because we need to iron it on this side and on this side, and we don't want to iron it wrong on either side. So what I found works nicely is to lay it with the wrong side up and just, get these pins out of the way, sorry. Just take my iron and real quickly just iron that back. And I'm not pressing hard. I'm not ironing anything on the other side. I'm just getting that cuff pushed back on this side. Then I'm going to flip it over and lay it flat, and then I can get this seam pushed back real easily. And you end up with a nice looking cuff with a nice piece of trim. All right. Then we're gonna head over to the cutting board. Whoops. Okay. And we're gonna lay this out wrong sides together with the right sides out. And I can't tell you how many times I've folded one of these up and started pinning it the other way. But we're going to do a French seam. So we want to lay these edges together with the right side out. And then we're going to just start pinning again. No. I have to trim it first. Okay. And you see all these little threads. I don't know how well you can see them, but you want to make sure you get those out of there because otherwise they'll stick out through the seam when you get done. I'm just going to take a narrow chunk off. And then this is a little trickier because I have to trim the selvage edge off. So think I got it lined up straight. Always a little harder to go through where the trim is. There we go. Because it's so thick. And then we'll come down here, line up with our edge we were cutting with, and get the rest of it. Okay, now we're going to pin. And again, I like to stick the pins in so that the heads stick out the side, so they're real easy to pull. You can tell by watching me how quickly this goes. Of course, I've done it once or twice, but you'll get fast too. And then when you get to this trim piece, you want to make sure that that's matched up. And then we'll match up these top edges. So again, I like to sew this with that scant 1/4 inch seam. And we're going to backstitch just a tad bit so that it doesn't come apart when we turn it. Okay, I'll take the pins out. Stop with the needle down, just that 1/4 inch from the corner. And I like to give it just a quick back stitch there. All right, well, that was nice. Took out those pins as I was going, didn't have as many to take out at the end. All right, now we're going to take it and turn it wrong side out. And, oh, I forgot to trim the corner. You want to take this corner and just trim some of the bulk out of that. And then you can just take a pin and just stick it right in that seam and just pull it up just a little bit to get that out. And then we'll get the other one, the other corner done here. Do the same thing. Just pull the corner out. There we go. All right, now you can't really iron it very well at this point in time, but when you're trying to pull a seam flat to stitch it, it helps if you do a little bit of pressing. So I'm just going to lay this here at an angle so I can press this seam, and I'm just going to press it to one side. Doesn't matter which side, but it just makes it lay flat much more easily. So I'm just laying that flat like that. Then we're going to turn it right side out again. No. I did that too fast. We have to stitch it before we sew it right, turn it right side out. Silly me. All right, let me pull this seam out again. The corner. All right, let's go back and stitch it. Now, when I stitch this, you can see, because we press that seam to one side, this edge comes right up. The seam comes right up to the edge very easily. Not so easy on the bottom where we couldn't do it. Now, when I stitch this, I stitch a wider seam because your seam is in there and we want that fully encased. Get this little thread out of here. We want that fully encased, so we're gonna stitch a little wider than 1/4 of an inch. Do a little bit of back stitching. And again, we're gonna get up here to the corner and stop with the needle down. You notice I was working that seam out just a little bit before I got to the corner. And you can see where we didn't press it, it's a little more work to pull it. I just kind of put my fingernail on it and pull it out, or push the seam over. We're almost done. We're on the home stretch. There we go. Now we head back over to the ironing board to give it the final press. Now again, especially this corner with 2 seams coming into it, you have to work that just a little bit to get it out. So I just use a straight pin. Whoops. Just pull it a little bit. It won't flatten out all the way, but close enough. And this other one will lay pretty flat. And I got a thread sticking out. Let me grab my scissors. Just trim that off. And now we're going to press it. So we're going to lay this seam, get this seam to the edge of the fabric, like that. And pull it. I just sort of put my index finger right on the seam and then grab it with my thumb and pull it. It seems to work. Okay. Turn this and get the end here. There's some of those little threads I was warning you about. I seem to have gotten 4 or 5 of them. I like these nice patriotic fabrics. So I'm just pulling them out and putting some tension on them so that I can cut them close to the edge of the pillowcase. And then we'll just finish pressing it. And voila! You have a wonderful decorative pillowcase. So this is Becky Johnson with Sweetheart Quilt Design Company signing off. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Thank you.